All right, well, happy December, happy holidays. Wow, we're ending 2025. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And what a year it's been. Well, today in the webinar, we have a special guest, Cathy Weldon from AppDirect, our parent company. We're going to talk today about how to unlock wireless and device sales, and I'm going to give you a brief market update. And so yes, here we are. Scott Ebeling, Head of Energy Strategy and Client Solutions. With me is Allison Black. She's Manager of Pricing and Strategic Solutions. And as well as our special guest here, Cathy Weldon, our Mobility Product Sales Specialist over at AppDirect. Today we're going to talk about Box, do a little market update. Cathy's going to talk a little bit about how to unlock wireless and device sales, and then we're going to do some closing thoughts. So take it away, Allie.
And thank you, Scott. And thank you to everyone who is joining us this Wednesday morning. We appreciate you guys. We just wanted to take a minute to introduce Box, an AppDirect company. We are your ultimate commercial energy brokering partner. So our mission is to provide independent energy brokers and affiliates with access to all top electricity and natural gas suppliers, instant pricing, and cutting-edge software, all supported by industry experts. Box, especially with the recent acquisition by AppDirect, has become the largest network of energy agents, advisors, brokers, and consulting firms in North America. We connect a variety of diverse energy partners so each can benefit from streamlined, efficient options in deregulated and natural gas markets. You can see how you can scale your energy business nationally with our deregulated energy map, which is up on the screen. You'll see some items in green that are deregulated choice markets for natural gas, items in blue, which are both power and gas deregulated markets. And then you'll see some limited availability over there in kind of the Midwest and out west. Those are limited availability. Those are markets where if you have a very large customer, usually on the natural gas side, there may be some opportunity there, but we do have some suppliers in these areas looking to bring on load. So if you have customers in these areas, or if perhaps you're a broker who has only worked in Texas or only worked in Ohio before, and you're looking to serve customers that are outside of your usual footprint, run that business through Box. We are absolutely happy to help and happy to put our supplier network to work for you as well. I believe that's here on our next slide is reviewing several of our top energy suppliers. So you'll see a lot of different names on here that you already know. NRG, Hudson Energy, NG, Champion Energy Services. I know everybody down in Texas is familiar with TXU. Our network is huge. We have a lot of us over at Box who have come from the energy supplier side. We have deep relationships in this industry, and we are happy to put them to work for you to fill out your portfolio, offer your customers more products, more options, more suppliers in more territories. These guys are always inventing new ways to sell energy, new products, piloting different initiatives. And so we're really happy to partner with all of them and find them customers that are really the best fit for their portfolios as well. So happy to put these relationships to work for you guys. And like I said, just part of our huge network and part of the benefit of working with Box. Another benefit of working with Box is that you get access to the Box's strategic solutions team that is headed up by Scott and myself. As you guys know, buying energy can be very complex, and with complexity comes the possibility of customers just signing contracts that they don't know they don't know what exactly are in those contracts. They don't know if there's going to be adjustments over the term. They might even really not know what they're paying if the contract has some pass-throughs or special treatments that are worded to be confusing. This is confusing stuff. It gets down into the nitty-gritty, but the strategic solutions team is here to help you specifically with all of those tougher problems, larger customers, or more complex customers that require those bigger, more comprehensive solutions. Our goal is to ensure the customer gets the best deal and the best contract terms on the marketplace any given day. The lowest price doesn't often equal the best deal, and fixed doesn't always mean fixed. We've done a lot of webinars on this in the past where we're talking about product structure and we're talking about these adjustments to the market. We're talking about regulations that are changing the landscape, and I know Scott is going to talk about that a little bit. We've got a great blog post about how demand is really driving increased charges. So I know he's going to hit on that, but be sure to check that out. And that makes everything that we're talking about with Cathy and our mobility conversation super, super relevant. Mobility and connectivity, the IoT pieces she's going to be talking about are absolutely critical for efficiency initiatives. And those initiatives are going to become more and more relevant as power gets more and more expensive. The Strategic Solutions team is absolutely here to help you guys with those tougher customers, not only to negotiate the best product, the best price, the best contract terms, but also to contextualize those offers in a changing energy market and potentially to tack on some strategic efficiency solutions like the ones we're going to talk about today. But before we get there, I will pass it back to Scott, who can give us a market update.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you very much. Let's get straight into it. Energy price update here. We had quite a month. We went up in winter gas, up $1.10 and down $1, up $1.10 in over like a 3-week period, and then down $1 in like 5 sessions. So with that, you see here on NYMEX natural gas, we just, the floor fell out in the monthly over the 2026 price. And we're going to show you why in just a second. But you see all the power markets, all of them are down here, and all of them are down for the month except for New England and New York, which is, we've talked about it many times. They're like an island out there because of issues with natural gas and the pipelines and what can get there, and they end up being in the wintertime. They're oftentimes in the really cold days, they're importing LNG just, and they're competing for that with the European prices. So that's why. So get in the phone with your politician, complain if you want, but that's what's going on there. And you see Texas really come down here, $7 last week for here. We've been talking about this being overpriced there for a while, and we still think it is. But here's why. Bam. This is what started coming out really on Wednesday last week. This started turning, looking like it was going to turn. This is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, or 10 to 15 day kind of area. That's kind of the area where really the traders are looking at. This is what they're looking at every day. These models update midday, around 11, 12 o'clock, depending on what time zone you're in. And they update as well overnight. But this just turned, and bam, here we are. Just like it turned, we talked about it in the last call, how these things can turn in starting October, mid-October, they start turning, looking colder, the markets move up. That's what happened there. And it got really cold. We went through a really cold spell, and here we are now with this. And the markets do not look at the current temperature. And what's so funny is last week, we had really cold temperatures here in the East Coast and up here in the Midwest. And the markets went down. It was like, why are you down? It's cold. It's really cold outside. Well, that's because they're looking 8 to 14 days out. They're not looking at now. It's just like when you buy a stock, they're not looking at what Apple's earnings are today. They're looking at what they could be 2-3 years in the round. It's called future cash flow. That's a different topic. But this is what they're looking at. They're forward-looking markets. And this is now what they're looking at now for the rest of December, is this really warmer weather. I just looked at the forecast for Christmas Day here in Chicago. It's going to be 52 degrees here. Really looking forward to playing some pickleball outside that day. So here we are here on the chart here. Yeah, you see this big fall here in the past week, and this is just like 2-3 sessions just completely went down, and here we were in mid-October, and now we're kind of getting down near those levels for 2026. So you get another opportunity. We talked about this, buying here, make sure you buy here, and then you had all this volatility, and of course a lot of people probably panicked and started buying around here and in here, and now we're back down here. This is a really lucky break. Take advantage of it. And then same here, and these are the monthly settlements, just for reference purposes. Here they all are. This is December, where it cleared at like 440 level, one of the higher months we've had in the last 2 years. And so we'll see what happens there, but it's going to clear less this month. And here's West Hub power prices, same kind of thing, big drop here in 2026, pretty elevated still. We have had some big clearing prices. Now this is December month to date, okay? And since then the temperatures have warmed up and we're clearing more down here. So this will average probably out for the year. If those temperatures hold, we'll probably average out for the month more like this level here. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at this. And then we want to talk about the capacity prices, and this is, we're talking about demand-based charges. These are all demand-based charges. This is like this 329. Take your megawatt peak level in these 5 days of the year. By the way, we have PLC notifications to go out PGM. We nailed it last year. We did all 5 days with only 7 of them called. Probably one of the better numbers in the industry. But this is where the option is. Now, guess what? For this period here, the pricing, just to let everybody know, they are pricing this, most of the suppliers are pricing it at this level for this. If your contract goes through this level, they're pricing it down here. And guess what happens today, this afternoon? Auction results are being announced for that period. So this is just something to put out there for you. Prices are expected to clear around 329. So at this level, they're expected to clear here, yet they're pricing it down here. Most stores are pricing the fully bundled product at the floor. So if you got what's called a fixed all-in, and Allie just touched on it a second ago, fixed does not mean fixed. Fixed means that that price is just in there. They're still due for adjustments if things like this change from what their levels were. And you only get that if you ask, where do you put in this capacity? We know what it is. So if the contract term extends beyond May of 27, if you've been pricing something beyond May of 27, you expect a significant price increase for this product starting tomorrow if it does clear at these levels or anything above that. So tomorrow any price can be completely different if it transcends through this, and if you're under contract and it goes through this current contract, expect starting in May 27, you're going to have adjustments here probably as well. So those will be announced today. We'll get those results out in the morning tomorrow. We'll let everybody know what they are. But again, focus on this. This is demand-based charges. All these charges are, which is now for a lot of PGM customers, is running at 25–30% of the bill just for capacity alone. And if you can take care of your demand for those 5 days of the year, the customers can take care of that demand for 5 days a year and just cut 20–30% of even 20% of their peak demand levels and shave that down. They're going to cut down roughly around $4 or $5 a megawatt hour of power. We all fight. All these customers fight and they bid and they broke against each other. This is one way to kind of help them out and show some value. Enough of capacity. We'll talk about it more tomorrow, and we send out some updates on that. Okay, so then historical Texas prices, again, we see these elevated. We talked about this before. These heat rates are pretty high. They have come off here a little bit here in the past week or so. You know what? I just noticed this is a chart from, my apologies on this. This is a chart from last month. This was not updated, but the pricing now is down roughly around here for 2026 and a little bit more up there for 27 and 28. But all those charts are we send out weekly, so you can see the updated charts. And this is North Hub, the index price. Nothing to see here. This is still not really budging much at all. And if you take out this August 23 number here, we'd be averaging prices around 33, 34 the last 3 years. So, and that's with forwards now in the $50, $60 range. Yeah, on a heat rate adjusted basis, puts power prices probably in the upper 40s. And this is now, okay, now we do have it updated. Sorry, just another slide in there. Okay, cool. I see, yeah, so here's prices now. This is historical Texas power prices. So one more thing to touch on in ERCOT is this kind of came out here. This is a lot to look at. I'm just gonna by the way, there's a PDF document. You can grab all this stuff if you want. Just get the GoToWebinar control in the panel there, and you can just pull it out in the PDF. But what this is this is the current large load interconnection queue, intercut. Okay, in the clickbait, the headline, all the headlines will show like, oh my God, it's going to go to, we're going to increase 223 gigawatts in the next 4 or 5 years. Like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, this is crazy. It's going to happen. So just to let you guys all know on that, and there we are. All this stuff here in the purple and the orange, these are basically really are like kind of, no studies have been submitted on these. This is under a current review. These are planning studies have been approved. And then there's like approved and not, oh, sorry about that. Approved and not operational, and that's down here. So then this chart, it shows this explosive growth reaching, 223 gigawatts more by 2030, but very little of it's really real, and only 5,300 megawatts is actually energized, and that number barely increases over time. Most of this is very early stage requests, and really what this really is just demand optionality. So people are throwing this stuff in the queue, filing the paperwork, blah, blah, blah. And it's an optionality to be able to potentially build something if it all gets approved, everything gets done. So be careful of clickbait and sending that and reading it too hard and saying like, oh, that's why prices are up so high, and just kind of ignore it and just look at it like, yeah, it's going to go. We're going to have higher, and I think we're going to grow from, we're peaking at like 85, 86 gigawatts right now to probably its 2030 number will be more in the range of this 115 to 120. Still significant gain in Texas, but there's also a lot in the queue as far as new generation coming online. Texas is handling everything really, really well. And just to show you guys, this is New England prices here. People have requested this on the chart, and this shows like a big increase we've had in 26, and that's of course because of the issues with the gas and all that. And then gas storage. So here we are. Last year we had a big withdrawal during the winter, and then we also had a big injection in the summer, some of the larger both. And we expect probably similar this year. So here we are around this trajectory here, pretty similar. And this chart here is just kind of, coming in here, and we, if all holds well, have normal weather from here, we're probably going to finish around this 1.8 to 2 TCF, or 1,800 to 2,000 BCF of gas. So that's right around these levels here. So we'll probably hit around here. Normal weather, but we don't know what it's going to be after 15 days from now. So we don't know what it's going to be like in January and February and March. And so one reason why to take risk off the table. Natural gas demand growth, we've updated this chart. We've increased some of these numbers. LNG is really kind of coming into as far as some new facilities coming on, they're coming on pretty quick in approvals. And we spent a little bit more of a power burn. So this has been updated last month, and this is a really good chart to show customers because it just shows, wow, even if we hit this low end of this by 2030, we're really increasing almost 15 BCF of gas a day that we need to increase in production just to keep up. And speaking of natural gas production, we really exploded here, and they've been ready for this. They've been winning to go, and we talked before. Producers are much more flexible now, and we'll probably see in the summertime this drop back down. This 107, 108 depends on where this is, but we've had some LNG come on, of course, for winter, and here we are, 113, and these guys are ready to go at these higher prices, and probably drop a little bit next month. This is a new chart, and what this shows, and I don't think a lot of people understand it, is that when a natural gas well is done on a fracking well, which is pretty much all of them now, there's a big decline rate in those first really, 18 months. And we're talking where it almost gets cut in half at hit the 2-year point and each well. And so what that means is we need to keep drilling, continuously new drilling, just to maintain overall supply levels. And as we keep growing production, this number, the wells that need done just to keep up, need to keep growing and growing and growing. And, you know, I think the best number to look at this is like, if we just said like, oh, you know, we're pretty good here at, all the wells producing right now, we're at 113 MCF, and it's like, can we just, or BCF, can we just, if we just stop production and, you know, and stop drilling new wells, we will not be at 113 a year from now. We'd actually be around 93, 94. It's a huge drop. So that means that we need to make up new wells just to keep up. It's almost like kind of like a Ponzi-ish scheme, but it's that's what needs to be done. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. And you know, it's something just to keep in mind and discuss to your more customers who are more kind of savvy and want to learn some stuff and learn something that maybe they don't know. Okay, some market insights you put out this month. Expansions of limits, you know, small nuclear reactor expansion highlights limits of nuclear as near-term solution. This is something we just kind of pulled research here. Amazon's tripling its planned small modular reactor site to potentially 12 units, 960 megawatts. Woo, 960 megawatts. Wow, you saw the new demand that was coming on. But underscores growing interest in nuclear for long duration power, but also reinforces the timeline challenge. So, okay, they're all excited here. This article is written, oh, small nuclear reactors. I mean, we had calls 2 years ago on this, like, saw people like, hey, I want to build one of these on my site. I'm like, hey, there's not even one in this country yet. And there still really isn't. So construction is going to unfold in phases with first power not expected until the 2030s. Wow, okay, cool. So we got this huge demand coming online. And wow, we're getting excited about 960 megawatt theme plan that's going to come online in 2030s. So just another reminder, nuclear, it's going to play an important role in the future in firming the grid, but it's not coming anytime soon and be some savior here that's going to allow us to hit levels that we think and supposedly need. And on the other side of that, good. Okay, now maybe we can cut power demand here because there's some, and this is just one of many we've been seeing lately. And I really think this is, and we're going to talk next month, we're going to have a little bit more of a market kind of predictions for 2026. But we are just efficiency gains here. And there's another one here highlighting, you know, key bottleneck in optical chips. This is going to help reduce the number of GPUs needed to make these chips more efficient, which means we have lower power and cooling demand. We're not saying this is the end all be all of how chips are going to be made in the future, but just showing you the research that's going into this because there's money involved here, huge money. You look at NVIDIA, why? Because they have the best chips, so they create something better. Maybe they can have a $1 trillion market cap as well, or even larger. And so really, we here, and we'll talk about it more next month, a little preview here, the only realistic path that we see for the United States to achieve AI superiority is through efficiency gains like this. Current technology cannot support projected future power needs. We're talking about all of it, all future projected power needs. We do not have the resources here to support that. I think that's my next insight. And I think the US is going to come to realization of that and figure some things out. But anyways, here, power demand growth outpaces resource capacity. US power demand is rising at its fastest pace since calendar year 1950s. All this stuff here, we all know this. And really just showing how the cost of building generation transmission projects effectively has tripled over the past 20 years. Tightening future supply, reinforcing upward pressure on long-term electricity costs. I actually was having a conversation at a Christmas party I was attending, and it was a head of a data center construction company, and they're having trouble just finding staff, the people to do this, and there is a backlog on them, and they're one of the top builders of data centers. Right now, they're not even looking to build a data center. They don't have anywhere in their pipeline. They're saying it's pretty much similar for most of the other major builders, and this is not easy build. It's like building a house. You got multiple people that can build one, or companies that can build them. They say that they are backlogged to 2029 right now. They do not have any capacity to build a new data center until 2029. So again, that's how it is. Okay, so here's a blog post we put out, how demand-based charges are driving future electricity cost increases. You in the PDF, just click that and you can get right to the blog. It's on our website, and it's just really helpful to show value to your customers. This is where you can really help them out if they want to save money and they want to cut costs. This is where it's going to be at. And just kind of gain a competitive edge with Box. We have our weekly market updates we put out and the charts, all that. Great, all that's in there. If you need any specific charts for your area, we can put those together. We have blog posts and updates as well. And also we can build out for your large customers, we can replace your logo with ours, our large customers, a customer presentation for you, and we can kind of curtail that and tailor that. Just one of the services we provide, all free of charge. It's all part of your services that we provide. So with that, I am now going to give it back to Allie, and she'll introduce Cathy. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. So like I mentioned at the top, we have Cathy Weldon on from AppDirect to talk to us about mobility and IoT. This is going to be really exciting. I'm super interested to see what we're doing on the mobility and IoT side. This is very relevant as far as energy efficiency goes, not only for building management systems if you're looking into efficiency, but also individual devices, controls, things like that. We all talk all the time whenever we talk about efficiency about how the cleanest and least expensive kilowatt hour that you will ever buy is the one that you don't use. So those solutions are going to become more and more relevant as demand drives these prices up and up and up. Which really has to do more with utility build-outs than it does with actual customers using more and utility plans. So if you can help your customers put some of these plans in advance of some of these moves, you will have a customer for life. And so without further ado, just setting that up, I'll give it over to Cathy to tell us a little bit about herself, her background, and give us an overview on the mobility and IoT opportunity through AppDirect.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was great. I learned a lot. I found I don't know a lot of things. That's my role here at AppDirect. When I was looking at the energy things and stuff you were talking about, I've been in the industry, just mobility and IoT, for almost 30 years. My entire career has been anything that touches a wireless network, whether it's a voice, your smartphone, or data connectivity to gather information so that you can analyze the data and see what you need to do with your company to be more effective, save money, and to also make money. But in listening to what you guys were just talking about, I will be honest and say, I was a little lost, because energy it's not new to me from an IoT perspective, but as a company and being part of AppDirect, a lot of the things that you were talking about, I've not heard about. So my role here at AppDirect is to work with the brokers, with you guys and the brokers, to learn more about our mobility practice and how we can tie that in, whether it be IoT or your customers. A lot of your clients are using smartphones or tablets, or if you're in Texas, it's a very rural area, so there's opportunity there for fixed wireless. There can be parts in Texas where you may have oil, where you're drilling for oil or different things, and the connectivity on a traditional network can cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and utilizing IoT for connectivity via a router with 5G speeds so that your customers can run their business. But I'll go into that a little bit further, a few more slides, and where we're seeing IoT. So, and I'm having to do 2 monitors, and plus I'm a hand talker, so I'll try to keep my hands at a limit. But today, globally, we're wireless, or we call it wireless, or you can call it mobility. It's 2.3 trillion globally. Today, it is 18 billion of that is attributed to IoT. And IoT can be anything from sensors to, it can be fleet. It's anything that's data, not really tablets or MiFi devices, but anything that is gathering data to bring into a company so that they can analyze it to make decisions is considered IoT. And by 2030, IoT mobility, the IoT will double, its growth will be double to $2.71 trillion by 2030. And a lot of that is attributed to both energy, natural gas. There's will be huge growth in that. You can go to the next slide. And these are the things that are really driving why companies are looking more and more at wireless technology. They're not looking at it to replace a network. They're using it to complement a network. And the expansion of 5G, our data speeds are so much faster, latency is low. 6G, you'll probably see testing for that. If you remember on your phones or tablet that you may have, you would see 5E and then 5G. You'll start seeing that in the next few years because 6G is coming. I mean, evolution is just getting faster and faster and lower latencies. Electric autonomous vehicles and smart fleet is the #1 area for, oh, I'm sorry, mine is doing differently. I thought I had taken it where you were doing those. That is the #1 area. I mean, we see electric cars everywhere, and you see, I was in, where was I? Austin, actually, and they had Grubhub or Uber Eats was delivering dinners to people it was like a wagon, and it was just driving down the street, and it was going around people that knew to stop. So you're seeing more and more of that. Smart cities, that is a huge area, especially in the energy market. Believe it or not, Barcelona was the first one that rolled out a smart city. And you'll have lights, and some of you may already know this, but you have your street lights, you have your red lights. When there isn't traffic with vehicles or pedestrian traffic later in the evenings, there are sensors that pick up on this. And if it doesn't pick up on traffic or pedestrians, they actually dim the lights. So therefore, those cities are saving money by not using as much electricity. Private cellular networks are big in the industry for energy. It is basically building a dome over, it could be maybe a wind farm, or it could be a power company. There's information that they have. One, they need coverage, because if you have buildings or you're in rural areas, the coverage isn't great. So we're building private cellular networks to guarantee connectivity, guarantee fast speeds, but also make it private. So the information that is within that dome is never touching the public internet. It is staying private. Wireless is primary. I was referencing that earlier about having routers, instead of having a wired connection into an office or a certain area, or you may have going from you have trucks that are out there doing maintenance, but they have routers, wireless routers in their vehicles that allow them to have connectivity just like they're running an office. And IoT solutions are definitely driving our revenue growth over the next, on and on, but especially over the next 5 years. And then you can go to the smart energy for the next slide. So #1 is, go ahead, you can just click them all if you'd like and make it a little bit faster. I'm sorry that I didn't send that in earlier. I changed it this morning, but manufacturing is #1 in IoT. There are so many, there are robots, there are autonomous forklifts, there are all types of different devices or different things in a manufacturing facility. And they do have traditional Wi-Fi. A lot of your commercial buildings have traditional Wi-Fi, utility companies. The challenge is as they're growing, they have more and more devices that are touching that Wi-Fi network. This is where private cellular, like we were talking about just on the previous slide, really comes in to complement that. So as they have they build their dome, they build their private cellular network, and they have all these devices on a Wi-Fi network, but the Wi-Fi network is congested, so it's getting slower. Things aren't connecting. You see it just going round and round. Your data speeds aren't as fast. They're complementing that with wireless devices, wireless sensors. If you'll have a Wi-Fi router here, and you'll have a private cellular router, or not a router, but a access point right there. They are able to work together. So as a company is replacing or adding new robots, new cranes, it could be anything, they're also adding it where it has 5G capability. That way they can offset and say, okay, we want to put all of these devices on our traditional Wi-Fi network, and we want to move all of these to our 5G network. So that way they don't have the latency, they don't have the bottlenecking. So they do work hand in hand. It's a great solution. You have your commercial buildings, which I know many of you, your customers are, you're looking at how can we save money on our commercial buildings. Sensors in there. So I have a smart home. When I walk out of my bedroom and I'm not in there for 5 minutes, the light goes out. It's the same thing in commercial buildings. Finding these ways that we can help them decrease their energy costs by inputting sensors on thermostats, on lights, water, different things that you can do to save money there. Utility companies, they are really big. They're in IoT for predictive maintenance, making sure that something, they're aware that something is having an issue before it actually really becomes an issue. Wind farms are big. You have drones. Most wind farms, they're huge. I just came back from California, and I'm looking at how tall these things are. They have drones that are flying around. So before they send somebody up there to see what the problem is, they'll send up a drone that's on 5G so that it can take pictures and look and see if it can get the information on what needs to be done before they send somebody up there. EV charging stations are big. We see them everywhere. You're seeing them really, they're adding more and more of them. We have a great case study that we did on a sale for one of our advisors. Wasn't a broker, it was actually an advisor, but they sold 140 EV charging stations. They were on Wi-Fi, and I'll go over that case study in a minute, but it really helped them with their business, because when their Wi-Fi wasn't working, they couldn't use the charging stations. Business rural areas, I won't beat a dead horse, but if you're in rural areas, please get with me. I'd love to talk with you about some solutions that we're seeing in rural areas, that whether it's a school system or a company, a business, a utility, we can help with that. Okay, we'll go to the next one. It's actually the case study for the EV charging station. So actually it was 240 EV charging stations, and the objective was to create a reliable network to boost efficiencies and cut costs and really improve connectivity. They had a Wi-Fi network, but it didn't have, I'm trying to think of what word, it couldn't, sometimes it had challenges reaching all of the EV charging stations, so they weren't able to be used. And what we did was we brought in a Peplink was the router that the customer chose, and we put it, or they encased it in a waterproof or weather resistant case. They put that router in there with 5G connectivity as a failover solution for their Wi-Fi. So it knew when their Wi-Fi network either went down or it wasn't generating enough coverage, it would fail over to the wireless router and provide connectivity all the way across all of their EV charging stations. They saw 40% higher saturation, faster, and new deployment. So what they're doing is when they're building new EV charging stations, they have it on Wi-Fi, but they are also putting in a Peplink router for failover. And they also know that they could, if they wanted to at any time, they could use the 5G with the router as their primary connectivity, and they don't have to have Wi-Fi. But their customers were much happier. They were able to, they have an app that they use, and so they can look and have connectivity and say, yes, we have, 5 of our charging stations are open, this one's open, schedule your time. But the bottom line was they were able to increase their revenues, but also have high customer satisfaction. Okay, the next one.
That's an awesome case study. I just wanted to jump in, Cathy, because
Please.
I think a lot of the advisors that come from the box side are probably like just as saying, okay, I have no idea in terms of like mobility, like you were saying, in terms of,
Like I was saying about your stuff, yes. I will be on your calls from now on.
Exactly. So there's a ton that we can learn from each other, but I wanted to highlight on the slide prior to this and in this case study, how many of these customers, how many of these industries and verticals are the exact same target industries and verticals that we have on the energy side. So if you're already dealing with customers in manufacturing, in commercial buildings, if you guys are looking at gas stations, if you're looking at franchises, if you're looking at hotels, if you're looking, I mean, any of these customers are going to be awesome, awesome opportunities, not only for energy, but also for all of these mobility and wireless solutions and IoT solutions. And again, whenever we're talking about all of this, this is just another pain point that you may or may not be aware of with your customer. Energy can be a huge pain point, but wireless and connectivity, all of these IoT things, energy efficiency can also be a really, really big pain point for your customer. So it's, I mean, it's very similar in terms of the conversation where we're going to ask, you know, what's, and I think Cathy's going to get into it in terms of some of the questions that you can ask to identify if this is a pain point for any of your existing customers. But just wanted to highlight that this is actually super similar and really pairs nicely with the energy offering that is your box bread and butter. If you're talking with them about their energy supply product, if you're talking with them about making a plan so that they have their budget under control in the future and they're looking at energy markets and they're making all of these plans, why not ask about their efficiency plans? Why not ask about IoT and controls? Why not ask about mobility and wireless? And if they're doing anything to really get an idea, to report on some of these utilizations and to report on their consumption. There's a million different ways that these types of solutions can be applicable in really, really meaningful ways for energy customers that you're serving today. So I just wanted to take a second to highlight that. And I think, Cathy, you'll get into, go ahead and continue, but, get into kind of that qualification for us too, just to really bring it home.
Well, and you make a great point too, because every company is using some form of wireless. Pretty much, I'd say 99% are. You may even have BYOD customers like, well, we don't really provide cellular. Well, that's wonderful. One, how many do you have, and how are you protecting your proprietary information? If your employees have BYOD, do they have access to email? Do they have access to any type of business applications on their phones? Because if they do, that's opening up a threat risk, because the hackers could get into anything. And if, like my parents, I'm like, please don't click that link. You do, and you get, especially at Christmas time, FedEx is delayed, click here, people are clicking, and there's a risk that they could get into your network. The opportunity there is to sell mobile device management. And please know that even if you don't know anything about this, that's my role. My role is for you to be able to reach out to me or to your account manager and say, hey, there was this lady that was on the call but talking about mobility. I'd like to get on a call with her. I am Cathy Weldon. Hopefully they're going to be sharing this. My phone number's on there, my email, but you can get to me anyway, or you can get to the account manager who can get to me if you don't remember my name. Okay, let's go to some key questions here, which I think is yes. And these, we have many more. So if you're interested in getting like a deep dive document, I can do a 101 mobility training. I do have that. It takes probably 45 minutes. It's a high level, but it's a little bit of a deep dive, and we can talk more in depth about mobility. But, asking your clients, because every one of your clients are probably using some form of mobility. How does your team stay connected? What challenges are you facing with remote staff? I'm a remote worker. We're headquartered in San Francisco, and we also have a large office in Chicago. I'm in Mobile, Alabama. There's different things that we use. My computer's locked down to certain things, MDM. But talk about remote workers. How critical is it to access, real-time data if you're away from the office? Just feedback. How do you track, manage, and secure mobile devices or IoT endpoints? Where one of my peers is he works our NOC. We have a 24/7, 365 NOC. So if your client has IoT devices or the fixed wireless routers like we were talking about, we can manage and monitor those for them. So if they have wireless as failover or primary, if that network goes down, our NOC knows immediately. And so Jeff and I work hand in hand on a lot of stuff when it comes to securing mobile devices and IoT endpoints. And then, how do you enforce security? And we can talk about MDM also in a little bit more of a deep dive if anybody is interested. And then the next slide. So mobility solutions really improve efficiency, real-time communication, access to information anywhere, enhanced customer experience, and then overall cost savings. And so you brought up a point earlier is when we look at cost savings, mobility invoices, people just say, oh, my bill, my bill's $2,000 a month. As long as it stays in that range, I really don't look at it. Well, what if that could actually be lowered to $1,000 a month or $1,200 a month? That is something that we do so that your clients can take that monies or those monies and put it on another project that they really want to do, but maybe don't have the budget for. Or they may, we would love to give our people tablets because, we want our customers to sign for this or that. We can help analyze billing and then also cut costs generally between 25 and 40%. If they've not been managing that or they don't have a partner in there doing that for them today, that is something that we can help with. So it gives them more monies for other projects. There's another slide in here for some more quick questions. We can go through those. Do you know anybody that has fleet? If you know a customer or any of your customers have a fleet of vehicles, what are they using today? Do they have anything? Are they using cameras? How are they monitoring driver behavior? So a few more questions. And then the next one's the one I'm the most excited. One of the most exciting things on here is we have a mobility tech wheel. And this gives you information on everything that we can offer and provide to your clients under mobility and IoT. This, what is IoT and Internet of Things? Weapon recognition, which is actually scary. But we have cameras. One of our providers does provide cameras that are on buildings. They are nationwide. And when there is a gunshot, the cameras will move into the direction of that sound. And they're recording all the time, but they will automatically go to the direction of that sound. ATMs, if you have any customers that are banks, more and more banks, because people really aren't going into the brick and mortar and they're going to the ATMs, is they're strategically placing ATMs at Dollar General, at grocery store parking lots, different areas, and they're powered by, the connectivity is wireless. Healthcare, we have all types of hardware providers. Lifecycle management, when I was talking about, analyzing expenses and working with your clients to lower their overall spend. And that's not just for mobility, that also includes wireline. So if they have circuits, POTS lines, which I know most people are replacing POTS lines, we can do that. Mobile security, MDM, where our providers can do everything from helping your customers write an MDM policy to procuring licenses to implementation and help desk support if needed on MDM. Wireless connectivity could be our top 3 carriers, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, but we also have global partners. So if you have anybody that has a global presence, we can partner with you on those. We talked about private cellular network. We also do a lot of satellite, and in Texas, there are more and more satellites that are going up because it's some of the areas where businesses are located is very rural. But I also live in the South, and we have hotels and businesses that have satellite, have Starlink as their failover, because if hurricanes come through and we lose a cellular network or a tower, we have the Starlink to be able to fail over to should that happen. And then upselling and cross-selling, like we're talking about the lowest hanging fruit, you guys have your customer base. Talk to them about mobility. Talk to them, you're already talking to them about energy. I'm sure most of you already know Andy Potts. MDM, which would be, if your customers are using Microsoft, we sell, Intune, we partner with Microsoft. We're one of their largest partners, and we can do Intune. I encourage you to take this, print it, and just hand this to your customers that you work with and say, you know, pretty much all of our customers are using some form of mobility. Maybe today they have IoT, and if they don't, they're looking at IoT. On this tech wheel that you see right here, what are some of the conversations that you're having internally right now? And that's just a good conversation starter. And they may say, you know, we've actually been looking about, you know, cameras, having cameras outside of our office, different things. But it's just a great starter saying, you know, now, you know, we're part of, you know, we work with AppDirect, who has a practice in mobility and IoT. Here are the things that we can now work with you on. And we know that, you know, you're probably doing something in here. How can I help you? And I just think the tech wheel is a great story. It's a great way to get a conversation started, whether it's the AppDirect full tech wheel or the mobility one. So our role is to offer access to a range of, you know, mobility partners and solutions, help you meet your customers' requirements. We have an entire team that does everything from deal registration to quoting to ordering, contracting. You don't have to do anything. We will do everything for you. Provide resources, training, and support. And I had in this, I put this earlier, but it's not in this one. We have a team. If you'd like to try, you know, doing this, but you just want to kind of dip your toe in it, we have a team called the Omni team, led, we call him Turk, but he has a team that you can work with, who they'll answer your phones, or you'll provide a number and you'll work with them, and they will help you kind of get up to speed. I'm here to help you get up to speed too, but if you want to go fast track, you can work with them. You will get half of the revenues of everything that is sold. And then as you become more comfortable, you can migrate away from the Omni team and then really work with Heather's team. And we'll help you grow. We can help you dip your toe in it, or I can help you we'll just jump in feet and all, and I'm here to support you every part of the way. We have training, support, and I'm here to help you assess, you know, to cross-sell with our other groups within the PSS organization. You know, our goal is to help you make money, make your customers happy, provide the right solution for them, and at the end, helping you to increase your sales. And that's all I have.
Wow. Thanks, Cathy. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, when I before we had this call here today, I just thought I thought we were going to talk about mobile plans, you know, like wireless.
No. Oh no, that's
think about how you guys are going into the IoT and doing things with like lights and EV charging and all this. And wow, this is I can see the cross-selling opportunities here. Definitely to talk to our municipality customers with like a lot of buildings, and then the factories, of course. And it's just like, this is just really great. And just like how you admitted you didn't know much about it, I don't know much about this, and I'm sure our brokers don't know much about this. But the beautiful thing is, with all this and everything that we opened up to you guys about an AppDirect and the tech wheel and all that, is that you do not have to be an expert. You can just say, hey, I got a guy, I got somebody that can help you with this. Let me just, you know, make an introduction, and then bam, you get 50% of the revenue. It's an income stream, a monthly income stream for you, a new monthly income stream, help you grow your business, take the profits, pay for your kids' college, whatever. But it's just a way to grow your business, and you're all trying to find ways to grow business and increase the pile. So, so thank you very much, Cathy. This has been very informative and very helpful.
You're welcome. Well, and just to touch really quickly when you're talking about you know, making money, is in mobility, and this could be a whole different conversation. We can have a one-on-one. Is commissions for mobility. There is a large upfront for every activation, and then there are residuals up to 46 months for those lines that remain active. Awesome. So not only are you getting upfront, you're able to build your revenue stream by residuals.
That's music. That's music to our partners' ears.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Cathy.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything else to add, Ellen?
No, I think this is a really exciting opportunity. I was just going to say that, you know, this is the same Conceptually introducing, Cathy and the AppDirect team introducing any of these subject matter experts is really the same as introducing, your customer to Scott or myself. We are just here to help you look better. We're here to help you look like a rock star in front of your customer. Your customer doesn't necessarily want to be an energy expert. They likewise probably don't want to be a telco expert or a connectivity expert or a mobility expert or an IoT expert, or on and on and on. As many people as go in and have a good, 10-minute conversation about the way that AI is reshaping our reality, and then let's move on into other stuff. But you don't have to be an expert in everything. You really don't even have to be an expert in anything, because we're here to back you up. So if you guys are interested in selling this stuff, by all means, we are happy to help and educate, and we want you guys to be aware of these opportunities 100%. But know that we're also here, any way that you want to grow your book, any way that you want to, organically kind of have these conversations and get into these different service offerings with your customer. Again, it's just more problems that you're solving. So we're here to help.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I just want to put one thing out there. Most of the people you're dealing with, if you're dealing at the customer level, we always like to call them accidental energy managers, right? Because unless you're at like a very, very large corporation, they don't have a team that's like experts in energy. And there's an energy manager, procurement manager, right? And we've run into those. We actually help some of those people out too. But most of our accidental energy managers, so that means that they just kind of are handed it. That's why we never know who to contact, whether it's the CFO, whether it's the president, whether it's the facilities manager. Somebody's just been put in charge of this and buying the energy and finding ways to reduce costs as much as possible, right? It's the same thing here. Is that right, Cathy? You got somebody that's been handed probably the task of the wireless mobility and figuring this all out, and and they need help. These people need help, and we can help them, and just let them know, hey, we can help you here. We can help you.
Absolutely.
And then if I'm in that job, I'm like, awesome, thank you. I need some help. Thank you, really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know where to ask, who to ask, and it's good to just ask. That's all you get. Don't ask, don't get.
That's right.
With that, I'll leave it there. Thanks again, Cathy, for joining us. Everyone have a wonderful holiday season. It's Hanukkah right now, and then Christmas coming up. Gosh, less than a week, or about a week from here. We reminder to you at Box, we'll be off many of those days. Our offices there's half days, and markets are closed and markets are all liquid. So if you're ready to contract, I would be trying to contract between now and the next couple of days before markets get really illiquid and you get wide risk adders onto the prices. So just be aware of that. But we'll have people on staff to answer your calls. But we can't promise you that same thing at certain suppliers. So just be aware of that in the weeks coming up from Christmas Eve through January 1st. So, but again, have a great holidays. Look forward to talking to you guys next month. Enjoy. Thanks. Bye.